On today's episode of the Back of the Bird, we sit down with Vancouver Warriors defender and reigning NLL Defensive Player of the Year, Ryan Dilks. Chat about a lot of hilarious stories, including a great prank call. Make sure you don't miss this one. Also chat about some news and notes going around the league, open some PLL cards, and catch up as always. Let's get right into it. Episode 128 of the Back of the Bird.
Take your first ride and run, baby, run. If you want a sign, this is it. You're mad, you're magic, you're as hot as a gun. You wanna play with fire, consider this. You'll chase the thrill if it's worth the hit, 'cause you never ever wanna work for it. Take your first ride and run, baby, run. You got a spine of steel and a roar of thunder. Yeah, you make me drown, yeah, you're pulling me under.
All right, we're back. Episode 128. The Banter Boys got a good review last week from all the talking we were doing, the stories we were telling, the rants we were going on. So, as always, presented by Cottage Springs. If you can't hear it, I'm going through my flu game right now, so we're gonna battle through, and maybe this is gonna be the one where my mind goes squirrely and just says whatever's on it. So it could be either completely canceled outright, or good conversation piece. But regardless, get out there, grab yourself some Cottage Springs. Maybe it's a way to get over a sickness. I don't know if that's something they want me spreading, but let's jump into it. Paulie, how are you doing, buddy?
I'm doing well, bud. Weekend off. The perpetuity caught a lot of buzz, not knowing what that word was, so that's great.
I heard a little rumor it got thrown in the Bandits' wives and girlfriends chat.
So we had practice we had practice and like all our media stuff on Saturday. Then we had a little team dinner, and then did I tell you guys? I don't know if I said it on the pod, but we were gonna get our rings on Saturday, but there was a little bit of a hiccup. Anyways, we didn't get our rings. We'll get them a little bit later, but we got to see them, which they're gonna be incredible. They're gonna be unreal. And then Scott Loeffler, who runs like the team, he was giving like a little speech, and then can't remember what he said, but he was like, "Yeah, the rings will be like in perpetuity," as Paul, something like along those lines. But everyone's kind of like, "What?" And then everyone like looked at me, and it's like that awkward, like, and then someone else said something, so everyone laughed at that joke. The perpetuity kind of flew over everyone else's head. But yeah, I guess the wives and girlfriends are having a good time about it. So yeah, man, that was it. It worked. It was a busy weekend, man. Worked Friday, buzzed up to Buffalo, and then worked Sunday. So full on weekend, man. And then watching, but it was nice to watch lacrosse games Friday, Saturday, Sunday, man. So it was good.
Yeah. Donnie, what about you, buddy?
Yeah, I'm good. Obviously, a difficult way to start for us. We played pretty well and pretty hard, and lost to a good Rochester team. So that's obviously not how you want to start, but proud of how we played. And obviously for me, it's was an interesting year, so just grateful to be kind of back out on the floor. And by the time you listen to this, our airplane rant will also probably be making the rounds on social. So the perpetuity is maybe just a teaser. But we also had a streaker in our game, which we can get to. That was, I think, a first for me. Guy was looking to promote some crypto. Not sure he got there.
Is that actually?
He had crypto written all over himself.
And then Laxmag posted it and had like tagged the guy. So I clicked on the guy's link, and it was just like, it was a clusterfuck of just like, I don't know if this guy made his own coin, but it was just like, it was a clusterfuck. But I mean,
buddy, if you want advertising, reach out to the boys. We'll get your coin.
Well, hey, I'm no financial advisor, but I'm not sure I'm gonna be taking financial advice from a guy that streaks the Rochester versus Las Vegas game and is missing half his jibs as well. So not a financial advisor, but I don't know if you're gonna be buying the DK coin or whatever it is anytime soon.
Buy low. You gotta buy low here.
I'll stick to my Shiba Inu and Dogecoin.
Hey, the best part was when in his video, like the POV video, when he gets tackled, he's like, all right, you got me. I'm like, dude, you're on the floor. Like, you don't just get to be like, oh, all right, like, I'll just walk off now. Like, no, and he got decked. It was right.
Yeah, it was a good
in
hit.
front of us.
From behind,
I saw
5 minutes, so from behind.
I saw the security guard coming the whole way because it's not like an NBA game or something like that where they can just jump in there. It's like who's gonna get him? Like, what are we gonna do here?
It's essentially like it's like almost gladiators. They got to release the hounds. Like, you got to open up that back door and let the guys go.
The Zamboni door swings open and the three security guards dressed as the hot dogs and Raj come to get the guy.
Yeah.
Man, fun. That'd be a little game, like a hungry
hippos. I was gonna tell a hot dog story, but I don't know if I can tell it.
Is this the one where the gun fell out?
Oh, I guess we gotta tell it. Yeah.
Well, I think you've told this. You've told this on the podcast before.
Okay, disregard that.
I think you can go through it again because we might have new listeners now.
Well, just like they do, I can't remember the company's name, but they do the hot dog race around the floor, and I can't remember who saw it, but anyways, like it's in between the break, and then everyone's kind of sitting there, and then lo and behold, I think one of the offensive guys like went to get out on the floor because they're like, they're body slamming each other, hitting each other. So one guy got decked near the boards, and I guess as he got decked, his handgun falls out of his pants or out of the costume or whatever, and so like one of the guys is like, fuck, man, there's like a gun on the floor. And then luckily PD Paul Day was still on the floor, so like grabbed it, like disarms it in like 2 seconds. And then I don't know what happened after that. Again, they probably gave it to the security guards, and then I don't know, gave it back to the guy or whatever. But yeah, pretty wild stuff. Like, I guess like looking back, imagine it went off. Like he gets bodied and it just goes off, either like blows off his like toe or just like you're just like on the bench grabbing some water and just like right through the shoulder, like Jesus.
It's like, I forget what it might be from Borat when he's doing like the race for outs, or I don't know what it's from, but he's doing like a race around a track and he just takes out a gun and shoots the guys ahead of him and finishes. Guy could have pulled that move to get rid of the other hot dogs, but that is it's alarming that maybe they put in the metal detectors after that. But an alarming thing nonetheless that guy got into the arena with that.
Wait, before we go any further, Danny, how are you doing, by the way? I don't just want to.
Oh, I'm good.
I'm
good. Yeah, good little weekend.
Flu game.
Yeah, good little weekend. Company holiday party there, and then watch some lacrosse games Friday, and then watch some more on Saturday. I don't know if we want to go through the scores of them, but I guess provide some feedback on games now, which is kind of a different thing. Not that I know what I'm talking about, but yeah, it was interesting to watch. A lot of different things going on, a lot of different games in terms of kind of just the feel of them. You had your comebacks, your overtime, your what have you. So it was it was good. It was good to watch. Weird to watch, but good to watch.
A quick something I wanted to throw in there. So like probably both of you guys was watching Friday, at the end of the game, a bit of a ruckus going on in the Colorado Vancouver game. Subi and Warren Jeffrey end up grabbing each other, two guys who I know really well, and they're they're best friends. They're two of my best buddies in Mimico. Anyways, I was chatting with my dad about this, and my dad says you got to tell the story of one time my dad and my uncle fought each other in a game in midget, and they were on the same team. My uncle took like too long of a shift, and as he was coming off, my dad was like, "Get the fuck off the floor!" And my uncle like shoved them, or like they came to blows, and they actually let it fly. And he said the ref was so confused, he didn't know what to do because they're on the same team. It's like, I can't give you a penalty. Like, what do you got to do? So
you don't want
your dad from Peterborough?
Yeah, I didn't
No.
know your dad was. I didn't know your dad was
No.
Evan's brother.
Yeah. He just had to change his name to get into business.
Yeah. And yeah, he's from Calgary. It's
Jason
Peterborough-ish.
Evans.
Anyway, so that I just wanted to. That was a kind of a funny one, and
Yeah, that's good.
Who won the fight? Who did your old man say won the fight?
I can't. I think it was like roughly a draw. Like I think they basically like tackled each other and they went down to the ground, and then at some point it was over. But and this was in midget too. They weren't like they were 6 or it wasn't. Yeah, they weren't kids. They just let it rip. So and I told this. We talked about it before, Paulie. You and Dan never fought, but I actually think it's a hilarious story. He just said like, "Hey, relax." He like grabbed you and said, "Hey, relax." The one time you guys
grabbed
got
me from
close,
behind, though. Grabbed me from behind. He knew. It's like
Coward,
it's like how you gotta grab an alligator. It's like how you gotta grab an alligator. Close up behind him. Hey, calm down, calm the fuck down. He threw his jersey over my head too. That puts me to sleep. Fucking calms me right down.
Like a shark when you flip the shark on its belly and you start rubbing it and it just goes to bed, so it doesn't do anything to you.
Hey, speaking of which, Paulie, a nice background here, a nice backdrop for the pod.
Your boy did some work.
What's that? Team Canada there?
I wanted to ask about that.
So that's Dan's. So these are all hanging in my dad's basement. So I've had them for a little while, and finally decided, probably put them up. So that's Dan. That's 2000 and Jesus. Sorry, I got like this holder. Fuck. That's Halifax World Lacrosse Indoor. So it's got the schooner at the bottom, which is pretty cool.
That's really cool. They threw that in there.
Yeah, and then that's me.
I love that you can't figure out the direction it goes.
I know, Jesus, man. That's me and Dan in Boston, and then how is this not working?
There we go. There it is.
Oh,
We're getting there.
I guess I should just, dude. I'm so dumb. I should just look at where the jerseys are.
Yeah.
There you go.
I was trying to reverse engineer it.
I'm like, how did the world indoor game get back in there? And then
this is gonna be very good podcasting.
Yeah, that's hilarious. So that's the Philadelphia Wings infamous game for breast cancer when I fought Irving. So kind of a funny story on that. Philly still had like some pretty. I still do have loyal fans, but you know how people like all these teams do like jersey auctions, like usually, well, I guess online now, right? But Philly was like literally at the bar upstairs, like live auction.
Oh, that's pretty sweet.
Basically, like you'd come up with your jersey and fucking people, bid. So obviously, like, that mine was a hot seller, but it was worth a little bit more. Like, there's like some blood on it and stuff from the fight. And then anyway, so my dad had to like outbid all these people. Like, I think he's paid like $900, dude, $700 to like $900 for this jersey.
Wow.
Yeah, he really wanted it, so he got it, and then got it framed up, which was cool, and then got a little something for the old man too. Little, I don't even know what it's from. It's from his retirement. Can you see that or no?
Yep.
Yeah. So a little shrine to the old man. So yeah, getting the basement organized here, which is long overdue. And then the kids just destroy it. But yeah, man.
Yeah.
So,
then there's toys everywhere, but
yeah. Oh, hey, you want to see the disaster of toys?
Yeah.
Bam, bam, bam.
Oh my god. That's solid, but yeah, I mean a good kickoff to the season. It looked like the seats were pretty filled. In the various games that I watched, and
that Ottawa game, like they said, like it looked like packed, but they only said 7,000, but it looked like pretty packed.
It's just just the bottom bowl.
The lower bowl's like smaller than other.
Yeah, I think
like
so.
Lower bowls, but hey, anyways, good start though. Good start and get a win. So,
I thought it looked great. I think the only concern in my mind, from what I was noticing, the turf looks a little sketchy.
Yeah, they threw the
Um,
old oil spill on there. That one
Yeah.
spot, it was like lefty shooter, far end. Like there's a one clip where Teeter bails, but then he gets back up. But like in that one spot, honestly, like I felt like 5 people bailed in that one like spot. So I don't know if someone like threw the oil down on there.
Yeah, I don't know.
it-
They're gonna have to take some sort of a cleaner to it or something, and just hopefully that gets rid of stuff. But
There,
No,
there
we
was
should
a
do
rumor
is-
thrown around that they forgot to put a layer between the ice and the turf.
Oh, so it got like condensation or whatever.
Yeah, I think it was wet. So
You know what we should do?
it
Is
sounds
throw
like
the
there might be. It
pebbles-
might have just been an error, and they might be able to rectify. Because that style of turf has been all right. Like Paulie, we played on it.
Yeah, I
in
played
St.
on it. It
Catharines.
was good.
It was good. So
Yeah.
hopefully they can get it
So-
right, and just a kind of a 1-game blunder there.
yep, no doubt.
If not,
Um,
just throw the rubber pebbles in there. Those
Yeah,
always help.
that'll make it fun. Just toss them right in.
Also, a
Donnie, do we
little
want-
insider info. Apparently, the nicest hotel in the league. That's what I heard.
Whoa,
Yeah,
is
I have
it
to
in
report
Canal?
back. Yeah, it's right by the rink, I think.
Interesting. In the league.
Insider.
Do we want to run through the scores quick?
Sure. I think I can do them off the top of my head here. Ottawa 11-5 over Toronto in Ottawa. 11-7, I believe, for Colorado over Vancouver. That was a wild game.
Yeah.
Shout out, by the way, we're a Players podcast. Ryan Lee hasn't played much lacrosse the last couple of years. Bunch of injuries. Shout out to him. Getting back in there. 14-12 for us against Rochester. Obviously falling there, and then 10-9 overtime. Shanks gets the OT winner there for Saskatchewan, and then 18-15 in a game that I think like probably the whole league watched because it's Sunday afternoon at a great time to watch a game. So pretty wild one there. And that was San Diego over Philly.
Yep.
The Sunday games suck to play. They're awesome if you're not in the game. It's a
Yes.
great way to finish the weekend.
Yeah, no doubt. Speaking of that, just a bunch of games going on, and then a bit of a crazy one with Vancouver. We got Ryan Dilks on this week, so he's going to be coming up in a little bit, and yeah, should be a great interview. Donnie, do we want to do some PLL cards?
Yeah, let me get them here. All right, PLL cards. Taking a week off here. We have 2 more packs to open, so this one and one more. And yeah, reminder, 8's normal, 9's special. We've been special pretty much every time. Let's see. Oh, I think we got a special one. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, we're special again, boys. All right, here we go. Will Haas, Denver Outlaws.
Will Haas, Duke guy.
That could be like the nickname
sure.
for guys like that is Will Haas. Like it's got if it's 2 1 syllables, I feel like.
Will Haas. The brick shit Haas.
The brick shit Haas is good.
Kelsey?
Jack Kelly, Kelsey Beauty, Chris Gray,
White. We already did that one.
Chris White, Matthew Witcher, D3 guy, show at York College.
York College. That's where.
In Canada?
No.
That's York University.
That's where our volunteer assistant coach from my High Point days, Ryan Cassidy, went there. There's a deep cut for those out there listening.
Shout out Ryan Cassidy if you're listening. Jules Henningberg,
Juke Lab.
Yep.
Juke Lab. I think he played a little bit in the NLL at one point
Yeah,
in San Diego.
San
maybe?
Diego. Yeah.
Chris Sabia.
Sabin.
Do you say labia?
Chris Labia Savia.
Like I might take this out, but my first training camp of of Panther City, my first year, I got like dinged up in practice. I can't remember what it was. It was something with my hip flexor or whatever. and I come off, and I'm nervous. I'm kind of rattled because I got hurt or whatever. And TK goes, "You all right?" I'm like, "Yeah." He goes, "Is it your labia?" I'm like, "No, it's like my hip." He's like, "Yeah, dude, I know it's not your labia."
You're reacting like, no, it's not. Come on.
Yeah, I was like, no. Yeah, I didn't even take in a word he said. All right, Sergio Perkovic.
I don't think so. I think it's more in the hip flexor region.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do they
I'm
call
like-
him? The Motor City Hitman?
Yep. I'm like looking at the trainer. I'm like, is it? I don't think so. Yes.
Is it my hip labia? Yeah.
All right, and this one is special. We have
Not again, Newman.
we have a rookie card here.
Oh,
So it looks different. Yeah, maybe this is worth some money. It is a Matt Brandow out of Yale for the Water Dogs rookie card.
rookie card in a practice penny. You gotta love it.
Yep. Yeah, it doesn't say like how many of them there are. So that's
Okay.
our pack. Yeah, we'll keep buzzing. As a reminder, if you make lacrosse cards, we'll buy them and open them on the show. Why don't we go to Dilksy and then maybe we can do mailbag after Dilksy Beauty.
Okay, beautiful. Well, you know the deal. As always, brought to you by Lucky Penny Media. At Lucky Penny Media, we're a full-service marketing company without hefty agency pricing. We understand your brand is everything to you, and working together, it means everything to us. More than just a client, you're a partner and a teammate. Our philosophy is simple. You grow, I grow, we grow. Here he is, Ryan Dilks.
This Hamilton, Ontario native is a two-time NLL Defensive Player of the Year and a current member of the Vancouver Warriors. Originally drafted by the Toronto Rock in 2010, he broke into the league with the Boston Blazers in 2011. He was then acquired in the dispersal draft by the Edmonton Rush, where he played 10 seasons for the Rush franchise, winning 3 championships and playing in 2 more. Welcome to the back of the bird, Ryan Dilks.
What
What's
an
going
intro.
on?
Thanks, boys. I appreciate it. Sweaters look good. Happy to be here. Let's do this.
Dilks, you in Edmonton now? Where are you?
Yeah, just in a town just north of Edmonton. It's called St. Albert, but yeah, it's kind of like 20 minutes from Edmonton, so it's good.
Okay, all right, buddy. How cold is it there right now?
Actually, you asked us on a good day. It was +4 today. Yesterday and the day
that's
before it was like
nothing.
-22. So we just missed the cold snap. So good timing for that question.
had the shorts out today, eh?
Oh, you should. I actually saw a guy running in shorts and lawn sleeve out there. I was like, there's snow everywhere, buddy. Come on.
Wild. We got to go first question out of the gate, where then we'll take it back to the beginning. But everyone's been dying to know if you're NLL memes.
You wouldn't believe how many times I've got that question, and I'm not NLL memes. Let's make it official. I don't have that sense of humor. He's pretty good. I get excited when I see his posts because I'm like, oh God. Mostly excited, but at the same time, I'm like, please don't be me. Please don't. You don't
Yeah.
see your name, right? So
How did that even start? That people started asking you that? Was that just like inside the locker room? The boys are giving you a hard time.
I guess, yeah. I think I paid like too much money for like one of those GIF apps over my career, and I love making the GIFs and putting people's stupid faces on stupid little GIFs there. So I don't know if people just made an assumption, but I don't even know how to do half the stuff he does. So he's above my pay grade.
That's
We
so
should be
funny.
hiring that guy for like our socials.
I know. We got to get on that. Actually, that's a
We
good.
can't
idea.
afford him.
Yeah.
Every
Yeah,
every week
probably-
every week I do a little scan to see if like I'm the subject of one of them, and then I enjoy the rest. Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
That's too good. But yeah, take us back to the beginning, man. Like you're growing up in Hamilton. How'd you get involved in the game?
A pretty similar story, I think. Like my dad put me in like soccer, and it was too soft, and baseball was too slow, and he played lacrosse growing up, and my mom even played lacrosse growing up, and I think I started when I was like 5 or 6, and I was always the hockey in the winter, and like I needed some way to stay in shape, and some of the hockey buddies were playing lacrosse, and it was just a great. I kind of fell in love with it, and yeah, I growing all the way up, like Hamilton Vandals, like it was probably like a lot of organizations. Some years, like we were in A division, and then like the year after, we were scrambling to get enough guys. I remember trying to convince my hockey goalie to come play for the Bengals one year, and it was just the way it was growing up. And like now, like Hamilton's doing great. Like the organization's top notch, and they've got a junior B team, they've got a senior B team. Like it's definitely come a long way since I've been there.
Dilksy, I got an all-time your dad story. When I don't know if I ever told you this, but when I was coaching Jamie in Six Nations, Scott Smith had us over for like a barbecue, and like all like the families came over and stuff, and then I was talking to your old man, and we're just kind of shooting the shit, blah blah blah, like because Jamie was a rookie. I'm like, yeah, man, he's doing really well, blah blah. And he's like, he looks over at me, and we were about to go to the Worlds in Syracuse. Like, just got named like Team Canada and stuff. And he looks at me, so he's like, "Yeah, so are you gonna play next year, or like, what's your deal?" I was like,
Cut you deep.
"Yeah,
Actually,
I'm gonna
Team
I'm gonna
Canada
see you in Syracuse.
yeah,
Yeah, I'm gonna see you in Syracuse in like 2 weeks. But yeah, no, I think I'm gonna play one more year after that."
Classic Brad. Yeah, he actually asked. Somehow that story did make it my way, and he wanted to ask how retirement's going. You got to be in year 10 by now, so
yeah. Still plugging away. Yeah, it's going great. Yeah,
That's funny.
Good stuff.
And then I guess after kind of your minor career, did you get drafted, or did you just automatically become Six Nations property for junior? Is that how that worked back then?
No, I never got drafted, and I was lucky. I played 2 years at Hamilton Junior B, and then Hamilton and Six Nations had a pretty friendly affiliation. So I was just kind of a call up in, I want to say 2018, and then I played a couple games, and then I played my final 3 years with the Arrows there. So that was awesome. Like that was my first. I remember when I signed with Hamilton. That was I played junior lacrosse before I played junior hockey. So that was like my first experience of junior sports. And I remember I signed the card, and they gave me like a black and yellow hat. And I was like, no way. I'm like, this is it. Like I've made it. Like this is as cool as it'll ever be.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
it was good. A lot of bus rides, and you miss the junior days. Like you look back and you're just like, oh my God, the shit we did on bus rides and the long trips, but like you miss it. Like you miss like those fun times for sure.
Yeah, it's those jokes that are flying back and forth and just all the stuff that's going on. That's when you become closest with the boys, and you're all like, again, like junior is something interesting because you're playing so many games and practices and stuff throughout the week that it's like you get so close with that group. But what I remember, so I guess your last year probably would have been my first year, I think, at junior. But I remember you guys had a pretty good team, and I think spanked us around in Burlington in the first round of playoffs when you were with Six Nations there. I don't remember how that year ended.
Yeah,
for you guys.
I kind of caught like the Arrows were really good. They won the Minto in 07 there, I think, with Jammer and the boys.
Yeah.
And then I kind of caught like the rebuild. And then, I think our last year we actually were pretty decent, and pretty sure we must have played you first round, but then we lost in game 6 to Whitby in the second round. So I never even came close. I think I might have went to the finals once, but I never sniffed a Minto. Never. We lost to Orangeville every single year, every single game. Like we were pulling up, and it was just Rosie and net. Adam Jones was picking corners, and like if we wanted to try and rough it up, Suter was like, "All right, let's go." We're like, "Oh my God!" So,
that's a tough thing to battle.
Yeah,
but,
and then
Donnie's
I think it was
just
my final year
over
Rosie,
there hearing that.
I was gonna say
Rosie
that's
graduated,
the Orangeville people listening to this are gonna love it.
No, it's a cult. They're scum. Like, don't get me wrong, I still hate them. But yeah, I remember Rosie graduated. Like, all right, this is our chance, boys. Like, we can actually see some net. Like, here we go. Like, let's. And then some kid named Dylan Ward came in, and we were like, "Who the hell's this guy?"
Yeah, they have more of them.
So it
they,
was
they
good.
do.
Great team to play for. Obviously, like you hated playing against the Arrows there, and um, Mike McNamara actually lived on the res a couple summers, so that was fun.
Wow. What was that experience like?
I was good. Like it wasn't too bad staying in Scott Smith's like $9 million mansion and his little his little uh, garage suite, and we had a in-ground pool and outdoor kitchen and our own like rink right there. So it
That's
was
not
good. We
bad.
had fun. Yeah.
Wow. And so fast forward to kind of was it the end of your junior career that you were drafted to the NLL draft? Is that 2010?
Yeah. So I entered the draft in 2000 before the 2011 season. Yeah, I went a year early.
Okay. And then so what do you remember kind of leading up to that and making the decision to enter the draft?
At that point, I got it was crazy, but like I was still like considered myself like a hockey player. I was like playing junior B hockey in Waterloo, still thinking I think I have a chance. I think I can like at least I'd lock down like a D1 scholarship at the minimum. At least I could go and play hockey for 4 years, and then I think the next year I was living in Walkerton, Ontario, in a one-bedroom apartment on top of a pizza shack playing junior C hockey. And I was like, I don't think my hockey career is going anywhere. Although that was a
Starting to
great
go,
time.
it's
I would
starting to go
imagine
Although that was
that
a
would be an
great
backwards.
time.
awesome time. Grab a slice and head up to Dokesies, boys. We're having a
Yeah.
night.
Me and my cousin, my best friend, were both on the team. One bedroom, just a couple mattresses up there. It was water. Yeah, it was a good time. But yeah, then like my junior A lacrosse, like I think Reggie Thorpe was my coach at that time, and he kind of brought it up, and I didn't know anything about the NLL. Like I didn't really understood like how it worked, like if it was full time, and he just kind of mentioned about going in. And I'm like, does it? I think I asked him, I'm like, does it cost any money to like enter the draft? And he's like, no. I was like, oh, sweet. So I didn't even think about like the risk I was taking. Like if you don't get drafted, like it's like way harder to get into the league as like a walk on. And I remember sitting in the arena in Walker and about to practice. We were doing a team meeting, and the draft was going on. I watched like the first round, and all of a sudden my phone just started buzzing in my pocket, and I was just like, "What is going on?" I was dying. I was like, we were in like an important meeting, so I couldn't look at it. And I was like, "Okay, I gotta look." I peeked, saw that like I ended up getting drafted in the fifth round, like 50th. So yeah, to Toronto actually.
And then, I mean, we were kind of talking about this afterwards. How did you end up going to Boston after that?
I drafted, yeah, to Toronto, signed a practice roster spot, and then 3 games in, that's when Boston hired Matt Sawyer, and Sawyer traded for me and Damon Edwards.
Interesting.
Who'd you guys
Okay.
get traded for?
Do
you remember?
I can't remember if Damon got traded. I got traded for a third round pick. It was kind of, I
Okay.
remember back in the day, like if a team wanted a practice roster player, they pretty much like you had to put them on active if you wanted to keep them, or like you couldn't like there were
Yeah.
no rules.
Yeah.
Like it was just like a free
Yeah.
for all. So that was the year Toronto ended up winning the cup. So obviously it worked out. But yeah, I think I got traded for a third rounder. I can't remember who it was.
That
We'll get
was
our
that was a crazy like if you look back at that team, like that's like the start of you, Rubes, Damo, like some fucking stalwarts in NLL, eh?
Yeah, we kind of me and Rubes used to always joke about like how kind of like the Blazers roster we had there. Like we had your
Casey
brother,
Powell, yeah,
Shooter,
shoot,
Casey
yeah,
Powell. Like a lot of money tied up in those three. And then our defense was like sneaky good. We had like Cosmo and Net,
yeah.
Rubes, Bubba Durno. Like
See, yeah,
there were a bunch of guys that were like pretty good and pretty mean out there. So
I think he ended up
for
going to
sure.
Philly too, but Brocky was a rookie with you guys too, just like an insane rookie class. You, Rubes, Damo, Brocky, a bunch of guys who played in the league for a long time. Wanted to ask, someone told me about this, that certain guys would get to fly to Toronto and then certain guys would have to fly to St. Catharines, or to Buffalo. Is that true?
yeah, that's 100% true. It was. I remember getting my itinerary. I was certainly a Buffalo guy, and I showed up, and it was just like a bunch of D guy, like all the D guys.
Anyone under
Rosie would
25.
no, yeah. Jamie Rooney would pick me up on the way, and like I remember like where's the rest of the team? They're like, oh, they fly out of Toronto.
That
That's
was
amazing.
like when I first started playing in San Jose. I was flying out of Detroit, but I was going to school in Windsor. Cause, who obviously was a Toronto guy, he was going direct from Toronto to San Fran. And I was going like Detroit to Vegas to like San Fran, then back. And this guy was just going direct. I was like, that must be nice. But the
Yeah,
funny thing, like, I don't know what, like, obviously probably had two different experiences in Boston, but like, I remember talking to my brother that season because like you kind of saw the decline, even like the 2 years I was there. Like first year, house downtown Boston, 4 apartments in Little Italy, you know, office right by the rink. Then second year,
yeah,
frat house out by Boston University, and then like I got traded, and I was talking to my brother. I'm like, so like all the boys moving down, like where you guys live, and like expecting it's gonna
yeah.
be. He's like, nah, man, we're all flying in. I'm like, oh, where are you guys staying? Like out by Chinatown. I was like, oh, like
It's just
it's
classic,
not,
classic stuff right there. You just see it.
yeah,
The 3 year
yeah,
special.
Yeah,
yeah.
that is something. Now, I mean, we need this kind of story, I guess, directly from you, but I understand there might be a little bit of a Dan Dawson prank phone call story. I don't know if you
I have a
remember
feeling this
this.
was coming up. Yeah.
I think
Oh yeah.
yeah, this is after between Boston and Edmonton, right?
Yeah. So again, I was 20-year-old playing in Boston, and I thought it was the coolest thing. I was like, oh, I'm gonna play here the rest of my life. Like NLL's like,
This team's not going
they're probably
anywhere.
making so much money. This team's not going anywhere. And then I remember we lost to Buffalo, and then I got a text from my Johnny Palace, and he's like, "How do dispersal drafts work?" I was like, "Oh, dude, I have no idea." He's like, "Oh, okay, good luck." I was like, "What?" And I ended up finding out that I was in a dispersal draft, and then, sorry, I'm kind of spiraling here, but I had a trip in Punta Cana during the dispersal draft. So I was like, oh, okay. I was able to go down, no problem. And I was like my girlfriend and another couple. And so I had no service down there whatsoever. And I remember like, oh, the draft starts in like 10 minutes. So I turned on my phone for the first time in like a week, and like my phone just started vibrating. It was all these like random numbers, like GMs were like emailing me trying to get a hold of me. I was like, holy shit. I was like, they're like, will you relocate? Are you getting these messages? I was like, oh my God. I'm like, yes, 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 yes. Like, I'm so sorry. Like, I'm in Mexico. And
Your
sure
phone
enough, I
bill was
found out
$1,000 when you came back.
yeah. Took me 3 years to pay it off. Uh, so yeah, I ended up, Corey Holman tells me I get drafted by Edmonton. I'm like, oh, awesome. I don't know anything about Edmonton. I played against Derek Keenan through junior, but I didn't know anyone on it. And but like no one like reached out to me, so I came back, and I was just like, okay, like, I'm assuming Derek's gonna like call me here like anytime now. And this was like mid-September, and sure enough, like the Mann Cup was just wrapping up out west, and Brampton just won it. So I checked my phone at work. I have a missed call, or like somebody was calling me from a random number. I'm like, it's Derek Keenan. I'm like, it's got to be. So I answer. I'm like, hey, I'm like, hello. He's like, hi, oh yeah, this is Derek. How are you? And like, I'm like buzzing. I'm shaking. I'm so nervous. And then like, he started off fine, and then like the questions just started getting weirder and like he was just like, okay. He's like, yeah, you were in Mexico, right? Yeah. Like, what kind of training were you doing down there? I was like, like I was like doing some like walks and I was taking it easy though. And he said, okay. And then like the funniest part was like, as soon as I would stop talking, he would say, okay, go ahead. Sorry, Derek, like, what do you mean? It's, okay, yeah, just go ahead. Like, that's all. And like, it just pretzeled me. And then he started asking me about like the mascot. He said, what do you think of like Edmonton's new mascot? And I was like, oh my God. I was like, I apologize that I haven't done any research on the team, but I don't know who the mascot is. And then I start red flags. I'm like, what's going on? And then like everyone started laughing. I'm like, oh no. He's like, do you know who this is? I'm like, I don't think it's Derek Keenan anymore. And then I found out it was Dan Dawson, and like a bunch of the Brampton boys were still up partying. And I was like, oh no.
Yeah, amazing. It is gold. And I'm surprised he actually revealed himself. Usually he kind of likes to bury those too, but that's
yeah, he was it was Dan, like he loves a good prank. A couple times waking up in Boston, boys were pinning me down. He had like a hot iron, like he's good, pretty nimble for a 6'5" guy to get a shoe check anywhere.
That's unbelievable. Maybe walk us through like kind of that year you go into to Edmonton, you guys get Rubes, and then Corbs comes in as well. I mean, a pretty strong decor right from the get go. What was it like transitioning to kind of get to know Edmonton and then start playing for that team?
Yeah, it was like I don't think we really knew like what we had. Like it was kind of like a ton of new guys came in. Like you said, like Jeremy Thompson came in. We ended up trading for Jeff Cornwall like partway through the year too, and then it just kind of like you didn't even realize the core is beginning, and then offense, like Rashawn Williams was still on offense, Aaron Wilson was still there, so like we were kind of like a mishmash group, and I think we started that year 2-7 or 2-7, I think, and we were like, oh man, and like Aaron Bold was our goalie, and I think that was his first year as becoming like a starter in the league, and I think that like at one point, like Bruce Urban was like strongly debating firing Derek Keenan, and he kind of like I remember like Derek at one point was like, oh, you're not losing me yet, like I'm still here, and then after that we just got hot at the right time and we went all the way to the finals that year.
Pretty hilarious, by the way. Like in hindsight, it seems crazy that Boston would get you and Rubes in the dispersal draft, but it's just because no one could contact you because you're in Mexico the whole time. So yeah, they thought you didn't want to play.
I look back. I'm like, what if my phone was on the whole time and like I actually had like a conversation with the GM? Like, would it just changed my career completely?
Crazy.
Oh, yeah, especially if you didn't know what the mascot was, you would have been screwed.
Yeah, exactly. That's all me.
Yeah, that's. I think it worked out for them, but moving in. I mean, going into that next year, obviously, you guys, just above 500, losing the Western Finals. So that's kind of Mark's. That's Mark's first year. So walk us through. Like, I guess that would be kind of like the changing of the tide offensively to kind of go younger and start building that core as a full group.
Yeah, exactly. Like it seemed like in 2012 there we kind of got our like defensive pieces that he was looking for, and then like even looking back to that trade, like how we got Mark, like I think it was like it was
Brody.
Trade.
No, I think it was Brody. It was Brody for like 27 first round picks. That ended up being like Mark, Churchy, Benny Mac. Like it was like a crazy,
Yeah, and
crazy
like
trade.
Vancouver was always good, like or
Yeah,
Washington was always like a good team, and then it just happened to be like Mark's draft year that they finished dead last,
yeah,
and it just kind of like, well, okay, like that worked out, and Mark came in, and like obviously Mark was a stud right off the hop, and kind of built the offense around him, and yeah, it was good. It was good to play with Mark instead of battling him against Whitby all junior. He was a lot easier to play with than against for sure.
This is an interesting one because I don't know if we've ever. I mean, I definitely think we've never had a guy on here and asked about this, but I didn't realize this. But 2013, you got offer sheeted, is that right?
I did get offers. It must have been, yeah, it must have been around 2013. Must have been, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
like
What was that? What was that
class.
process like?
It was looking back, like I don't know. I think I had an agent back then, and like obviously, like we couldn't come to the deal with terms, and I didn't. You don't have a lot of options, and we kind of like I got wind that maybe like Buffalo would be interested in me, and they ended up like offering me like a 5 year deal. I still owe Chutter like a lot of beers and a lot of rounds for pretty much setting
hey,
me up there. And
me and you
yeah,
both, because I got offer
yeah,
sheet. Like I got out. That's why I got traded from Boston because I got offer sheeted, and then from Toronto from Terry, and like my experience was like Terry's like, here's a contract, and I was like, yeah, fuck, I can't not sign this. So I signed it, and then like
yeah.
at the basically 23rd hour, Boston traded me to. It was actually crazy. They traded me to Calgary, then Calgary flipped me to Philly.
Hmm.
Oh wow,
Yeah, but
So
I have
you're
Terry.
yeah, you got him to thank
yeah.
for all
And
the.
then Paul, once you got to Philly, you were on the offer sheet contract. Then like Philly basically
Yeah,
matched it.
it was crazy. Yeah, so like
Or
I'll tell you the whole thing.
Boston matched it and then flipped and then started the trades or whatever.
No,
No,
Calgary ended up
Calgary match. Yeah.
Calgary matched it, so it was crazy. So sorry, Dokes, not to step on your offer sheet,
No,
but if you know this podcast, I
it's
got to
probably
make it
more than
about
mine.
myself. Well, like I don't know if it was, but it was league max. It was 3 years at league max and a $10,000 signing bonus.
Oh, that
So
man's unreal.
yeah, so the crazy thing was like, yeah, so I told Dan, and Dan's like, yeah, you got to sign it. And I was like, yeah, I mean, I have to sign it. So I sign it, and then I'm like, but I told like Boston, I'm like, hey, like I want to stay, but like my hands are tied, right? And then they got pissed and whatever. So they traded me to Calgary. So, anyways, Calgary paid me the signing bonus because that had to get paid like right away. But then I got traded to Philly, and then like League Max was on Philly. So I was like on Calgary's team for like probably less than a month, but they had to give me the $10,000 check, like
Oh,
plus taxes, and then
perfect.
they just gassed me over to Philly. I can't remember who I got traded
I
for.
wonder if somebody paid Calgary that money back, or like what did they get to just soak that?
I don't know. Yeah, who knows?
Well, we got to
We'd
find
have to
Better
out.
talk
currency from
to
them, yeah.
Dougie Refute. Talk to Dougie Refute because honestly, Danny, you might be right because I think like I'd have to talk to my brother about it too. But I think that was kind of how it was like everyone ganged up on Toronto, so it was like, hey, let's like, can you take this guy? And then
Yeah.
yeah, you pay the 10 grand, but then Gypsy just takes a salary. It'd be, I think it was something like that.
They're doing payment plans on Paulie to get him to make sure he doesn't go to Toronto.
Yeah.
Uh, that's nuts. But I guess
Yeah.
yours not as yours wasn't as detailed or crazy as that. It was just kind of like a matching
No,
situation.
it was like compared to what Edmonton was offering me, and then Chutter came in with like a 5 year deal, and it was like it was not even. I looked at that contract. I'm like, okay, I'm playing for Buffalo. Like, there's no way Edmonton's gonna match this.
Yeah.
And and then sure enough, Edmonton matched it, and it's like a win-win. It's perfect. It's like, okay, perfect. I got way more money than I wanted. I got a 5 year deal, and I'd have to stay with the boys. So it's like So
Yeah, that's
it's good.
Christmas is early.
That's an awesome quote right
Yeah,
there. I got way more money than I wanted. I got a 5-year deal, and I get to stay with the boys. Fuck yeah.
yeah,
That's
That's it.
it
every
was
guy,
good.
the amount of guys that that can say that out loud in our league is not a long list. I don't think so. That's
For
an
sure.
incredibly impressive thing. Um, but I mean, obviously, it worked out with that happening for them in terms of agreeing to do it. I mean, you guys again the next year come in have an unreal regular season going 16-2. Like, is that just now everything's starting to gear up and the boys are feeling like a well-oiled machine?
Yeah, like at that point, like the offense was clicking, like defense was clicking, like Boldy's in his prime, like we're getting goaltending, like everything was just like rolling. Like all our, like we were so lucky we didn't have any like major injuries. We kind of like it was kind of like I don't know about the start, but like pressure D kind of like really was popular at that point, and like
Yeah.
offenses didn't really know how to like handle it, and like it just we look back and we were like, I can't believe like we lost that year. Like we were rolling teams. Like and like it was a fun year because like we were getting really tight at that point. We were going out celebrating a lot. Like, it was just obviously when you win that many games and you're in a row, like it's a fun time to be playing.
Yeah.
Interesting point that you made there, but the kind of the pressure defense and catching people off guard. Do you think it's a lot different than what teams are doing now? Like, do you think it's kind of gone full circle again? And what kind of made that change in your eyes?
Yeah, for sure. I didn't like, and even just like the last couple years in SAS, like we could tell like we were still trying to run it, and like I remember having the conversation. I'm like, are we not built for like the pressure D, or like have teams just like figured out how to beat it? And like, I think it was more teams figured out how to beat it. Like it back then, like every offense started with the ball at the top, and it was easy. Just like we just forced them down into the lane, and I'd walk them into a double team every time. And now, like the ball is barely at the top. It flies to the corner or the half wall, and it puts you in those awkward spots all the time. So I think offense has really changed, and which correlated to make defense has kind of changed and kind of ease up on the pressure D a little bit.
I think guys got like better too. Like
For sure.
offensive guys are just like more athletic, where like you would just walk like not necessarily a slow guy, but like I just don't think guys had like the feet to beat it either. Now you got guys that can feed it, or like you're trying to pressure them over top, they can still get over top somehow, like or they duck like underneath you. I think just like everything, yeah, it's kind of like a mixture of both.
For sure. The athletic and the skill level is like even in our career, like my career, I'm sure.
Oh, 100%.
Paul, your career too is night and day compared to when we first came in.
For sure.
Yeah, I've talked about it before on the podcast, but I always think it's interesting how like everyone gets better at certain skills. So that little flip pass, that was basically the pressure defense. Is you'd push them down, and then if they had to flip it, you'd either slide or you'd feel good about it. And now, like if you're an O guy and you can't make that pass, you can't play in the league. Like, and it's an automatic one for most guys. So yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, for sure.
So I mean, moving in, obviously that year you talked about it, like kind of, that one ends in heartbreak for you guys, but the next year is kind of that run to the final, and you guys pull it off in Edmonton. And my question about this is like, did you guys know before you won that you were leaving next year regardless? Was that a known thing?
Yeah, it was. I think they announced it in like first weekend of playoffs or something like that, and like
just to try to fill the arena and
Bruce
get everyone
Urban,
behind it, I guess.
Bruce Urban, like I love the guy, and he was awesome. Owner took care of the boys, but I remember I don't know if he really understood like what he was doing when like I think he just did an interview and like he just kind of like mentioned that like I kind of mentioned that we're like he's bringing the team to SAS kind of thing, and then like it just like got wind and like whoa, like, that's a major announcement here, and like luckily it like we had like great leadership, great coaching, and we tried to just focus on what we had. And yeah, not often do you see a team win the championship and then, all right, see you boys, pack up,
See you
let's
later.
show up.
Well, and then to relocate and immediately win again.
Yeah, it should almost be a rule in this league. Like whoever wins the championship has to relocate to the new city just to like get traction and like piss
I
pump
think
a
it'd
bunch
be a
of
great
teams.
It'd be a great way,
Yeah,
and it's like a fantasy football keeper league too. Like your roster stays the exact same, and the
yeah,
cap doesn't
that's
apply to
it.
that.
It's like the opposite. It's the opposite of relegation in Europe. And
Yeah.
the winning team has got to pack your
Pays
bags.
to win.
Yeah,
Pays
you
to
can
win.
pick up every team's best player. Yeah, it's the opposite of
Yeah.
a social job.
It might work better for Nashville, Tampa than it was Saskatoon. But hey, you guys did it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was that year was awesome. Like we didn't know what we were getting into. Like obviously it's a little different in the NLL. Like most guys are just, instead of flying to Edmonton, we're just flying to Sask. So I don't think anybody really knew how well it was going to go there when we got there.
Yeah.
And you live in Edmonton area now. Did that happen while you were playing there, or did you kind of end up moving there after the fact?
Yeah, so that was in 2014. I was living in Edmonton playing for the Rush, and then after that season, I went to Victoria to play for the Shamrocks, and then I'd go back to Hamilton, live with the adult roommates for a couple months, and then 2015 I went back to Edmonton, and then Victoria in the summer, and then like every time I relocated, like my suitcase got smaller and smaller, and by the time like end of 2015, I was like, I can fit my entire life in like this carry-on right now. I'm like, this is getting out of control. So I kind of made in 2015 during the season, that's when I met my now wife, and I kind of made a decision, and I was like, you know what? I was like, let's take a chance. Like, I got to stop living in team houses. I got to like settle down, like find a real job here. And then I was like, you know what? I was like, I'll just play for Edmonton, live in the city, play for the rest of my life. Like, what could go wrong? And then
You didn't learn from the Blazers
year.
days, eh? you just thought you were in again.
There's no way it'll happen
Just
to Edmonton.
fiercely
There's no
loyal.
way.
Fiercely loyal.
We're getting 2,200 fans a game. There's no way like this team's going anywhere. Like, so
Unreal.
yeah, and I just kind of said, you know what? Like, I'll just set up camp here for a little bit, and it's only a 45-minute to Sask, so worked out.
I've been living above a pizza parlor for too long. It's been fucking 15 years.
If those walls in Walkerton could talk, baby.
You don't want to know.
Is that the Walkerton Willie, like where the gopher tells you? If
No, Wyerton. Walkerton's where they had that like massive E. coli breakout.
The water problem. Yeah,
the water was tainted.
That's
probably from your apartment. It started in your apartment, probably.
Not crazy. Yeah, man, that was good.
Before we get to the other championships, just wanted to ask about something because you mentioned it there. You were part of the Victoria team that won the Mann Cup, I believe, one of those years. I think that was the last BC team, one of the only BC teams that won it here in kind of recent memory. What was that like, kind of getting it done out west?
Yeah, it was awesome. Like nothing but good things to say about Victoria. Like obviously living on the island and the fancy life was bar none. And then like they treated us unreal. And then 2014 we kind of went into the Chiefs ILA and got spanked around. And then we came back to host the Mann Cup. And I think it was like when Dan Dawson announced he was coming, I think he just had his first kid. And and he came, and then once like people saw like Doss was coming, and I was just like Priolo, like it was just like we were signing guys left and right, and that's right, holy, like our team is absolutely loaded here. And yeah, it was definitely a good time to be alive. Yeah, it was fun, another fun summer. Yeah.
Who'd you guys beat? Peterborough in the finals, or did Nation
We
come
beat
over?
Peterborough in game
Peterborough.
6, yeah.
Yeah, nice, sweet.
Where
was the? Go, Danny. Sorry.
This is just more so curious. I don't know if this is the case now. Is there import rules in either league? Like in how
No.
many you can have? No,
I don't think so.
I don't
think so.
I thought there might have. Actually, no, I have no idea. I haven't played summer ball in a long time.
I don't think there is. It's just more like the loner rule, like
Right.
weird shit with that. Yeah, like you still belong to whatever East Coast team. Like it's just kind of random stuff like that.
Yeah.
Did you two, Paulie, ever cross paths on the
island? No. I was only there 10 and 11, and then I was gone. And then I kind of stopped playing summer ball for a bit. So no.
Nobody could afford you.
Sure.
You're still living on the Sanderson Sanderson.
Well, no one could afford me, but they're like, why would we pay this guy this? We'll just let him rot. This guy's making what? Nah, he can just sit at home. I swear this phone's got to call. This phone's got to ring at some point. I was on the Dilksy plan. I was in Mexico. I wasn't getting serious at calling GMs. Hey, did you call? No, we didn't. Oh, sorry. I thought I missed your call. Yeah. Hey, that's probably just checking in. Did you call? No, we still haven't called. Okay.
Took a shower there. I didn't know if you called. Like, I shower there.
That's probably why Mr. Dilks thought you were about to retire, Paulie. He hadn't seen you in summer in a few years.
Yeah. That checks out.
Saw me coaching, like, oh, this guy must have retired. He's coaching now.
Where did we leave off? I guess that second the championship in Sask. What was that like? Kind of feeling that whole place rally around you after pulling that off from your first year there.
Yeah, I think at our home opener we had like 8,000 or 9,000 fans there, and which is kind of standard for like the NLL, and then it just kind of like kept growing, and then like I think for almost like the last half of the year we were selling out 15,000 plus every game, and like it really like it actually felt like we were like pro athletes in the city. Like we were kind of getting like recognized. Like we were shocked. Like none of us have ever had that before, and it was just a crazy experience, and such a tough barn to play in too. Like once the crowd got behind us, it had to be intimidating. It still was. I played against them last year, and it still is intimidating place to play.
That's awesome, man. So then I guess we can touch on this one quickly because we've talked about it a couple other times, but that 2017 kind of just a crazy turn of events in that game to go down to or in that series, I should say, and then finally in that game to go down to Georgia. But that kind of reset you guys to get more into it to come back the next year and make things right.
For sure, and we had problems all year that in 2017. I think it's crazy. You're looking back, I think we had like 6 losses, and we were disgusted. We were like, we couldn't believe in it. Now what I would do to have a 6-loss season would be unreal. But Georgia had an unreal team that year. They kind of like their plans aligned a little bit. Like Pui was in his prime. Lyle was kind of getting to be like the Lyle and Shane Jackson and Randy Stat. They had a good team and good defense, and they kind of exposed us there in the finals. And we always said like if we did win it in 2017, I guarantee we wouldn't have won it in 2018.
Yeah, well. That's Donnie also forgot in this. Donnie's got our show notes here. It says 2018 win against Paul. I was also on that team, Donnie. Well, so that's kind of
sorry.
I think Paulie and I might have
we traded Dan to Sask.
Yeah, which was a weird thing. It was like watching some sort of like a Jedi put on like the dark cloak because you guys are going like straight black jerseys too, and Dan's going black tights. He just looked like he stepped right over to the dark side. But what I mean, and you guys got the first experience with the new trophy, right? That was what was that 2018 when they switched to that?
Yep.
And
It was the Star Cup, or I think it's different now. It's not the same
they
as
changed it again.
28.
Well,
They changed
I
it
think
again.
the
Yeah.
boys, I think the boys might have got some lead poisoning or something from.
And the dental bills, I think, from trying to drink out of it. The league couldn't afford the dental bills anymore and was chipping their teeth on the fucking corners.
No. Yeah, exactly. They were like, "Don't drink out of it. Like, you'll get poison yourself." And it's just like we're gonna try and drink out of it. Like, there's no way. And we started. Yeah, then we're like, okay, maybe we'll just like beer luge it off the side, and that's what Paul was saying. It's like guys were chipping teeth on the golf course, and yeah. So.
Is there like a favorite memory or funniest thing from all the times that you have won it and kind of in the celebration process, or whether that's an emotional moment with family or what have you?
For sure, like lots, and I just like so fortunate to be part of that group, and like the fact that like we like to go on like that dynasty run like that, like it was always about the boys, right? Like we loved like the city of Edmonton, the team, and like the wins were fine. But the best times we ever had was like the trips after, like in 2015, like the team flew us to Vegas, and like those weekends. And in 2016, we went to Mexico, and in 2018 went to Scottsdale. Like those 3 weekends, the boys, like we still talk about and like laugh about and all the shit that went down, and yeah.
That might be a post-retirement podcast.
Yeah. Well, I think like the best thing about those is like what you don't realize is like, you know, when you win, even the night's like amazing, but it's just like in this league, it goes by and then that's it for the most part. Right? Like you win, you have the great night, but then usually that's it. Like in Rochester, that's kind of how it was. Like Buffalo was a little bit different, but like we won, you have a good night, and then it's like, see you next year. So to have those trips where like you get to like spend time with the boys, still have the cup there, even if you don't have the cup, but like to spend like 4 or 5, whatever, 7 days together, like that's where you can actually like almost let it sink in and just let it marinate. Like, yes, the best.
Yeah, for sure. And we were lucky though. Every time we won it, we won it. The game clinching was always at home, so we won every cup at home, which made it even better. Like for the night of, obviously, and then like we always went the following weekend. So like 4 days from after we won it, we met again in like wherever city we were going. So it was good. Yeah, fortunate.
Well, we've had you for a while, but we want to kind of get into obviously, the signing that you've got to kind of make a tough decision to decide if you want to, leave and where you want to go as a free agent. You've been quoted as kind of mentioning that a lot of the reason was you landed in Vancouver was, because Mouse is there and, and having conversations with him. But how did this decision come to be?
Yeah, one of the toughest decisions I've ever had to make. And, you always think you're going to finish your career with the team you start with, that you can't see yourself playing for anyone else, and things change and things go a different way, and sometimes you just need both sides need to kind of do their own thing. And I was interested in coming back to SAST, and they showed interest too, but Vancouver really showed interest, and it made a lot of sense for my family at the time. Like my wife has family in Vancouver. I get home earlier on Sundays for the kids, more direct flights. I was connecting from SAS to Calgary to Edmonton. It was taking me 6-7 hours just to get home from SAS every Sunday. So not to mention the weather delays, and so that side of things, Vancouver's been great. And then when they announced Mouse was coming in, and it was just kind of like the icing on the cake. And just pretty lucky to get kind of be under another Hall of Fame coach, and I know a lot of good guys on that team, and you can see something's building there already, and hopefully I'm still there to be a part of it when it happens.
Donnie, we want to run through kind of these last rapid fire here.
Yeah, okay. I had someone send in some questions that we should ask you. I'm sure you can figure out who it was. I was told to ask about the Co-op Dilks pickle chips. What were those?
Probably the peak of my career, the coolest thing that's ever happened. Yeah, I had no idea. It must have been 2018, 2019, 2020, and I just got a message from some guy named Joe. He's the manager in Moose Jaw at a co-op, and he was just like, "Mr. Dilks," he's like, "I just received your chips. So I was wondering if you could send me a jersey." And I'm like, "Buddy, I think you got the wrong guy. Like,
Just Dan Dawson.
What you're talking about." Nice try, Dawes. Get the hell out of here. and yeah, they kind of surprised it on me, and I think I had the punniest name on the team, and it just kind of worked out that like my favorite chip was dill pickle, and yeah, easily the coolest thing that's ever happened to me.
And they were like
So
branded as like it was in the name, right? Like Dilks pickle was how it was branded and stuff.
Yeah, Dilks pickle chips. It was sold at they made 50,000 bags and sold at every co-op across Saskatchewan.
Do you have like a memento bag? Do you have enough willpower not to eat them all?
Yeah. I started with a bunch, and there were a lot of lonely nights in the basement when I fire through a bunch of bags, but got one bag I'm looking at right now at the bar, and then a couple bags.
That's unreal.
Hopefully for the kids, kind of one day they
That's
can
so
hang up somewhere
so
if
sick.
they don't. Mm-hmm.
And then I was also told to ask about how you earned the nickname Puddle Twin from Coach Keenan.
Rained. No, it didn't rain a lot in Sask or Edmonton. I was roommates with Johnny LaFontaine.
Yeah.
And we hit it off right away. And I one of the training camp nights, like it was a runaway. The boys got into it, and I think me and Johnny both showed up to the airport in like pretty rough shape, and like Keenan loved us right from that moment. It was like, "You guys are puddle twins. Look at it. You're both lower." And from there on out, we were both the puddle twins. So we had to kind of live up to our rep, and that's how that started.
I think that's all I had. We've been asking everyone about gear. Do you have any like piece of gear that you've kind of been using your whole career, and any kind of really unique gear that you have?
Nothing crazy. No, like I've never broken a D shaft in my career, so I've used the same Under Armour shaft for I don't know, at least 8 or 9 years now.
Wow.
Other than that, I get my boy Mark Matthews strings me up a new stick every year, and yeah, nothing cool, or like no old tight pads I still wear. Nothing cool like that, unfortunately.
You're not repping the Bengals under your jersey, anything like that? I thought a Hamilton boy would have a Bengals t-shirt. You don't wear that hat under your helmet? That hat from Junior B under your helmet?
No, I should. I got a huge bat tattoo of the Bengals, so
Tiger, the Tiger King.
Yeah.
Who was it that wore bright shoes so that their grandparents could see? I thought that was you. Was that you for a little while?
It was me. Yeah, that was my mom's dad. My grandpa, he was a legend. He was
absolute electric
blind.
factory on Twitter.
Oh, that was the other one. They both
that's the other
were
one.
Much blind, but the other one, my mom's side was.
That was Papa
Dilks. Pretty much
Dilks.
blind, paralyzed, and then he couldn't see, and basically he still wanted to come watch me in Toronto and try and watch on TV. So I was trying to help out, and then that was kind of the start of the Papa Dilks era, and then we introduced my other side, my dad's dad, to the internet, and then it just took off. And
It was unreal. It was legendary. It's so sick.
All caps. I loved it. That was so good to read because I'm reading it in an all caps voice.
Yeah, I tweet out every single player before every game, wishing the shadow's watching, boys. He's good. He's hanging in there. He's getting older, but
that's awesome.
Still.
That's unreal.
I guess the last one is we did the gear question. We didn't do the number question, did we?
No.
So
nope.
Number question. What's the any kind of reasoning in particular behind the number you were?
No. I remember Terry Sanderson called me, and I was terrified of that guy, and completely caught me off guard. I don't even know if I knew I made the team yet. He's like, "What number do you want?" And I was like, 74. And he's like, "Really?" I was like, No. I think I went to 4, which was my junior number. I got traded to Boston, and Matt Sawyer was like, "What number?" I'm like, "Oh, I'll take 4." He said, "That's Kyle Rubish." I'm like, "Oh." I'm like, 22? He said, "That's Casey Powell." I was like, "Oh." And then 24 was literally just a panic.
That's funny. And now you've stuck with it the whole time.
That's it.
Wow. Unreal. Well, this has been awesome, man. It's been good to kind of peel back some layers, get to know you a bit. This is I'm sure people are gonna love it. But I think if you guys, Donnie, Paulie, you guys got anything else before we let them go?
No, it was great. Thanks, Dilksy. Best luck this season, buddy.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. Yeah, thanks for having me on. Looking forward to seeing you guys on the floor, and have a great night. Thanks for staying up for me.
Love it. Thanks, Dilksy. Appreciate it, man. Okay, what an interview with the Dilkman. Good to sit down. Holy smokes, what a career! Great guy too, and NLL memes on the side. So, yeah, is there anything else you guys want to touch on before we wrap it up for the week? Any funny stories?
Do we have time for the Irish Travelers?
Yeah. Okay.
Let's go.
Let's get ourselves canceled here, or not canceled. Let's get attacked by some Irish gypsies.
Yeah, you can't call them that or something. Anyways,
oh, you can't.
I just I don't know. There was like I was listening to Spit Chicklets today, and like people are yelling at Biz for calling them like Irish Travelers or gypsies or whatever. But whatever, he doesn't care. I can't remember. I think it was a couple. It must have been a couple summers ago. But my next door neighbor was getting his driveway repaved. So Mac, I think it was before Coco. Coco was a baby, doesn't matter. But Mac was like looking at the truck. They had a big like dump truck, so he's just like at our window watching. So it was like perfect. Like he's just babysitting. And then next thing I know, knock on the door. So I open it, and it's one of the guys from like next door. Right, and I'm like watching it, and I've gotten my driveway repaved, and they're like doing it all in one shot. So I don't know if you ever got like your driveway repaved, but usually it's like rip up, put some gravel down, let it settle, come back like a day or two, or even like But no, these guys did it all in one shot. So I was kind of like, oh, that's a little bit weird. Anyways, this guy comes over, knocks on the door. He's like, "Hey, mate," he's got the Irish accent. He's like, "Oh, yeah, I see your driveway's cracking there, and I think we got the best product in around here." So I'm like, all right. So I'm like, I step outside. I'm like, okay.
Just to hear your Irish accent.
So I'm like, okay. He's like, yeah, no, we used it. We used oil base, and and he's talking in Irish and all this stuff. So I'm like, okay, yeah. I'm like, all right. I'm like, bro, how much? And this guy's like covered in asphalt, just fucking black and all over. I'm like, how much? Well, I give you a good price. $500. We'll do it right now. I'm like, not a sniff, dude. Not a sniff. He's like, well, I can't go. I'm like, no way, dude. I'm like, I'll give you 150 cash right now, and he can do it. I can't. I'm like, all right. I'm like, dude, that's what I'm giving you, like 150. Take it or leave it. All right, 1 sec here. Let me get back. So he goes back, and Comes back with another guy. Would you do it for 300? No, dude. I'm doing it for 150. Take it or leave it. And they go back. They kind of chit chat. All right, we'll do it for 150. Okay, sounds good. We'll come back here tomorrow. All right, perfect. I'll give you the 150 tomorrow. They never came back. They're gone.
They never did.
No, never came back. And then, so then I'm like, the next like day or two, I'm walking my dog, and then my next door's neighbor, so 2 houses down from me. He's like an original owner. He's like 85 years old. Guy still like rips hot rods, like it fixes them up. I'm like, hey Bill, what's going on, man? He's like, just shaking his head. I'm like, what's up? He's like, man, these guys, they just fucked Miro, my other neighbor. He's like, they just did a shitty job. And I'm like looking at it, and the driveway is like terrible. I'm like, yeah, they tried to steal my driveway, and they seemed pretty shitty. He's like, yeah, I looked them up, and like I couldn't find them on like the internet or anything like that. So like literally, like I wonder if this is like a roundabout way that these guys are a part of like that group or whatever. But
well, dude,
yeah,
even today when we were texting about this, I looked out this window right here, and there's like 3 guys, like all had their hair like gelled back, like, and I just look at the logo, and it just says Belfast Restoration, and then I look up the company, and it's like a flood or mold restoration company. Every single rating was 1 or 0 out of 10, and it said they just show up. They get cheap contracts with condo corporations. They show up, and instead of removing mold, they just paint right over it and then just say the job's done, and then just leave, and then the mold spreads through the house and gets like people get sick. Like, so apparently this could uncover a deeper web here. So
these guys don't want to just lay low for a little bit, eh? It's like, hey, we're taking some heat online. let's maybe
go to Canada.
Like,
we gotta go to Canada. We gotta pivot our business. We're not doing paving anymore. We're gonna do some molding.
It is like hilarious. Like they fuck with Biz. He's like an NHL enforcer. Like, sounds like he kind of beat the wheel. Like, he at least did well for himself in the fight, and he has like a mega platform, and people love him. Like,
it's all going downhill for these guys. The poor bastard.
And there's this whistleblower CA guy that is like doing all their digging. Like, who's this guy?
Yeah.
He's just yeah.
It's
incredible. The Life of Shay guy. That guy, he just like uncovered everything. It was just
crazy
wild.
what he was digging up.
But that's Barstool in a nutshell, dude. Like, those people are like, but the Barstool crowd's so loyal that like they just ride or die. Doesn't matter. Like they'll literally attack you, and it's crazy.
Recently, they had to like tell everyone to chill out because of all like the bad press Barstool's taken over the years. But then this is like such a like. These dudes are like bad people on so many different levels. It's like, all right, like just let it rip.
Yeah, let it fly. Yeah. So we'll see. I love following it though. Whenever I see a thread, I'm reading the whole thing.
Oh, 100%. Especially when it's like deep dive. But dude, like literally like pieces of shit. Like the one guy and his wife are like beating their kid. Like I get the scams. Like scams are all over. And again, you have to be like a real scumbag to like scam people and like do it over and over again. But then that's like your next level of like scum, like beating your kid and then like showing no remorse. It's just like
then beating up beating up the woman at the golf course too. Like these guys are checking.
She caught a stray though, right? Like he was pounding the guy that she caught a stray. Not that it's okay, so I should preface that.
Beating your kids and beating women is not okay, but a little bit of scamming. I did it to GMs for 7 years in this league, so it's
we're still doing it to Creppy.
Yeah, we're scamming crap on his merch still. So it's it's not the worst thing all the time.
An all-time move would be like, and I'm sure like Portnoy would love to do this. You get Biz and one of those guys rough and rowdy.
Yes, it would be incredible.
Imagine that.
It would be numbers.
That would be
huge.
Or even 3 of them. Put 3 of them in there against Biz.
Fuck, that'd be amazing. Or just do what he said. Like, it's like one after another, just like the gauntlet. Like
the Royal Rumble.
Marshawn's thing was hilarious too. On Brad Marchand, you can see what he said. Yeah.
Oh yeah, just body bag.
Yeah.
His hair did look
awesome.
oddly more thick. This whole bald stool, how all the guys from the
Yeah,
Chicago
they all
office.
went to
It's
Turkey.
awesome.
Yeah,
It's
dude.
awesome.
What the fuck? When are we doing that? I need to get on board. Even the guys that had enough hair went and got it done. So I might need you guys to take one for the team here.
My mom, my mom was just over there on a trip. She and my sister and their partners were in Istanbul, and she said like tons of people on the flights had like the head bandages on. It's like
Oh, yeah.
it's a
Dude,
notable thing.
Turkey's like becoming. I know it's obviously a hair thing, but like I saw a clip on Instagram too. Like some American girl went over there for like $1,000 and like flight included, and just got like every health check like under like the sun,
I
like
saw that too. Yeah.
MRI, CTs. Like said the hospital looked like the Shangri-La. Like picked up in like a Rolls Royce. Like it's becoming this like place to go. I know an old district chief of mine, he either got his hips or knees done there, and it was like the same thing. Like picked up,
Is he fine now?
yeah. And like, I mean, again, I've been told that I need new hips, so I'm thinking go there,
We
get
go
new
together.
hips, and then I go to Balek, and then we go play 286 holes down in Balek with my
Now
new
we're
hips,
talking.
because guys, I think it's all part of the package. You got to test out the hips, so you just go right to the golfing.
Yeah.
Or
and
you
I'll
just-
get my hair. I'll get my hair done and get like just some nice good breeze on it afterwards. Out swinging the sticks.
Paul,
Almost
I
got
think
stuck in
you're-
Turkey, dude. Almost got stuck in Turkey
What?
when I was when I went back in 2000. Remember, did I ever tell you like a story where I lost my passport in Europe?
Yeah.
So, anyways, like go to the embassy in Greece, get this like emergency travel document, like it's all like official, and like get through security, no problem. But dude, there was like 3 different checkpoints, like getting onto the flight. Anyways, get to the first checkpoint, chick's like, no, you're not getting on the flight. And I'm like through security, which is like so crazy. This is like to get into the gate. And then I'm like, no, like tell her the story. I'm like, blah, blah, blah. She's like, no, you're not getting on. I'm like, well, yes, I am. Like I live in Canada. Like I can't stay in Turkey. So she lets me through. Like 10 feet later, here's another lady. And I'm like, oh God. Send it to her. She's like, what is this? Listen, this is a story. Lost my passport. It's an emergency travel document. No, we don't accept this. And I'm like starting to freak out. And Dory's with me. She's like telling me to calm down. I'm like, listen, I'm getting on the flight. I've told you guys. I told that lady back there. Dory's like, guys, stop. We're in Turkey. Like, blah, blah, blah. Anyways, long story short, I got on the flight. Thank God. But I was like losing it. Like, I'm like,
Almost
why?
got thrown
I'm
in
trying to
jail.
go home.
Yeah.
Like, I'm
Let me
trying
go
to like,
home.
shouldn't it be the opposite way? Like you can't come into like the country if you got this like weird document. Like I'm trying to leave. Like why do you care?
Well, that does it for episode. What did I say it was? 128.
128. Yep.
Of Back of the Bird. We appreciate you guys listening. Brought to you by Cottage Springs, and we'll chat with you next week.
Goodbye.